Welcome to Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino. Get ready to dive into the wild world of Minnesota hunting, trapping, and wildlife. We'll be chatting with some folks who protect, manage, and promote the great outdoors. But don't worry, we'll also have some laughs as we chat about guns, whiskey, and anything else that catches our eye. So grab a drink, sit back, and get ready for a good time.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and wolf.report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
At wolf.report, citizen science means that you provide the data and we provide the platform. Our website is designed for the citizens, hunters, trappers, and anybody else in Minnesota to easily report wolf encounters and share location data.
APF in the house.
That's right. We've got Garret here from APF today. How you doing, Garret?
Great. Thanks for having me up, guys.
Thanks for making the drive.
Right. So you come from Alexandria this morning, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
Left about 7 o'clock.
Wow.
Is it that far?
Yeah, about 3.5.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that far. I was thinking like 2 hours.
That's all right.
Wow. Appreciate
I
it.
knew it was a bit of a
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
For us.
Anything for you guys.
Anything for us. Yes, I like that.
appreciate it.
That is
Great
awesome.
answer. Great answer.
Well, what was it? A month ago, we got these awesome hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been rocking it ever since.
Nice.
Not quite as clean as yours, but
I know I wear mine on special occasions. I usually don't wear it every
I
day
wear
to
mine
keep it
all
nice
the
and
time.
clean. Yeah.
all the time.
I
Your
finally had
church
to take
hat.
mine off today.
Yeah.
It was getting a little too dirty.
Yeah, I know, right?
You get a little
Rocking the
grungy.
MBHA hat today.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That looks good, too.
It does.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Garret, tell us, well, why don't we start with a little bit about you,
Right.
you know, and whatnot. And
You're from South Dakota, right?
Yeah. So I grew up over by Aberdeen, South Dakota,
Okay.
and Warner. Grew up loving hunting, fishing. Didn't grow up with a hunting family, I would say. My dad was a Vietnam vet.
Okay.
Wasn't always around guns, not very often. And every chance I had, I was in the backyard with a BB gun, trying to shoot everything. And my mom was pretty supportive where I would shoot a rabbit. She's like, all right, go skin it and I'll cook it up for you.
Really?
So I ate rabbit and squirrel and probably some birds I shouldn't have ate during the seasons. I shouldn't have shot them. But, you learn your lessons when you're young. And
Absolutely.
but you learn that passion. And I think it's not taught into you all the time. I think it's just there.
Yeah.
And that passion of the outdoors and this community and the Second Amendment community is big.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't shoot my first deer until I was about 16. It was after JV football practice or maybe freshman year football practice. And my dad's like, hey, tomorrow morning's youth opener deer hunting. Do you want to go? I'm like, yeah, sure. That'd be awesome. Well, I ended up falling asleep on the stock dam. And my dad woke me up and I shot a spike buck. I thought it was a doe. First deer that walked out, I shot it with 30-06, dumped it, and I was hooked.
Yeah.
I just loved it.
that's awesome.
So the spike buck was legal, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was not 2 inches. Yes, it was shorter than 2 inches in the state of South Dakota.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just grew up pheasant hunting, bird hunting a lot, and moved to Minnesota and developed a passion for the modern sporting rifle. So
Yeah. So tell me, how did you used to cook those rabbits?
So, wild rice or cream of mushroom soup can fix any game animal.
True story.
Because I shot a lot of snow geese back in South Dakota, and you got to eat them with something. Because they're not great by themselves, I would say.
Awesome. So you throw them in a slow cooker.
Yeah.
Some wild rice. Oh yeah, that sounds pretty good actually.
Yeah, it was good. And then put it over potatoes or whatever you want to do. And
Yeah. I love rabbit. I think it's one of the most underappreciated game meats out there.
I agree.
Yeah.
Jackrabbit's not great. Just let you know. They get a little stringy.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had rabbit, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah,
I used
come
to
think of
snare
it.
them, and there was this old Indian lady. She used to take all my rabbits, but yeah, I've had it. It's pretty good.
Have you had squirrel?
No.
No.
But I've wanted to.
It's good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
The only way I can get my wife to eat squirrel is if I throw it in a slow cooker with a rabbit and tell her it's all rabbit.
You just gave up your secret.
No, she
She's
knows.
not listening. Love you, honey.
No, she is.
Just kidding.
Give her a call, guys.
Right.
No, I'd love to go squirrel hunting. You guys make a good squirrel hunting gun?
You know, I think we're a little heavy on the lead
Heavy
for
on
that. You can step it back a little bit. We can get you one, but
Heck yeah.
What is your preferred firearm for squirrels? Are you shotgunner or?
I like 22 with subs.
Yep.
There you go.
You don't
The
get
same way.
the over penetration and I would say you're not picking around BBs.
You're right. You're right. I think a squirrel taken with a shotgun is just a waste. There's not much left there.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems
Oh, I
a little
bet.
overkill.
No.
Oh, this one time I did shoot a squirrel with the 12 gauge slug, and I hit right underneath it, and it went flying through the air. Not a mark on it.
It just died on impact.
I think
hit
it
the ground.
like the concussion or something killed it. I was amazed. I went over thinking this thing's going to be destroyed. I was much younger. I was like probably 15 or something. So, and that's all my dad had and I was like, I'm going hunting. Yeah, not a mark on that thing. It was amazing.
I did that with a stripey gopher with my 9mm the other day.
Nice.
I didn't hit it, but I flipped it up in the air, and that must have killed it.
I was pretty good with my 20 gauge out of the front tree, getting rid of squirrels, taking their heads off, which is amazing. It's like, how the heck did I do that? But they were in my bird feeders all the time and just annoying. So I didn't eat them. I just shot them and then chucked them across the road.
How many bird feeders did you destroy?
Actually, no, I waited until they got in the tree. Now, my son, on the other hand, with his BB gun, there's a few holes in a few of the bird feeders to where there's BBs.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got a freezer full of red squirrels right now because they keep
Really?
getting. I've got so many bird feeders in the backyard, and they're constantly back there. And I had so many bird feeders in the backyard. Bear got to them 2 nights ago.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we don't have many of those problems down by us,
I suppose
a
not.
lot of bear. We get them every once in a while, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's always been interesting to me how you guys hunt bear, and yeah, it's pretty kind of a cool process.
Yeah. Yeah, we just had you put in for.
Yeah, I didn't get it
tag.
in. 4th year in a row. I haven't got it as long as I've ever went.
I forgot to put in. I didn't
I
put
put
in.
in every year. I put in for the elk too. I never get that, but
Nobody gets that.
I know. I don't actually think anybody does.
I had a buddy that Kiergaard Sports down south.
Yeah.
He applied for it the first year and got a cow tag.
Wow.
And he's like, well, I think I'm not going to do it. I think I'm going to try to get a
man.
bull. And everyone's like, you better go shoot one because you'll never ever.
That is
Yeah.
a once in 10 lifetimes.
Yeah.
Right.
tag
And
to
I've
get an
been
elk tag in
applying
Minnesota.
for
Yep.
15, 20 years, I swear. Nothing.
Nothing.
Just give $5 for
No, we'll have to take a trip out to Colorado. for
The
an elk
state
hunt.
needs it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
All
where
right.
I elk hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Colorado. Salida.
Yeah.
South of Salida down in the Moffett area.
Okay.
Down in the
Yeah.
valley.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've shot 5 elk out there.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
all with MSRs.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What's the biggest elk you've got?
5x6.
Okay.
It's more of a let's fill your freezer.
Yeah.
If you see one, big one, we'll shoot it. But we're out here to shoot them because they're depredation tags. So it's an August to February hunt.
Oh, okay.
So you can get out there and hunt in the nice weather or the cold weather. It's kind of, but every morning there's different elk on its place. And
I
I
suppose.
think they shoot 400 off the property a year.
Wow.
Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah,
like you
that
go out
seems like
there
a
and
lot.
you dump 8 elk and they're like, oh, just another day on the ranch.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Awesome.
That's the kind of ranching I could do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sign me up.
Calling elk.
For sure.
Yeah, that would be cool. So what's your preferred caliber for that?
So first year I went out there with our MLR and 30 Nosler
Oh, wow.
because I'm like, I need a big gun to shoot a big elk. And then the next year I went out there with a 6.5 Creedmoor. And
Oh, man.
and I'm saying it because I know you guys. and the reason I did is because we took it out to this rifle out to like 1,100 yards, and I'm like, I'm confident behind it. I know the gun shoots. I can dope it from, 300 all the way out.
Yep.
So having an elk at 568, I shot a bull 2 years ago.
Oh,
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
And the rancher's like, I want smaller calibers. It's all placement.
Yep.
And it's true, but there's guys that go out there with the Creedmoor and they'll shoot an elk in the ass and then it'll run and then they're chasing out.
Right.
So if you can shoot, not saying I can shoot, but if you can shoot, smaller caliber is always not a bad thing.
Yep.
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 I mean, 6.5 Creedmoor is a perfectly capable cartridge for an elk.
Exactly.
I would say it's at the bottom end of the spectrum of an elk cartridge. Actually, Randy Newberg agrees with me.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, if I trust anyone about elk hunting, it's probably Randy Newberg. But yeah, I have buddies that have taken elk with a 6.5. I haven't. I always my 30-06 is my elk gun, but
I've never got the chance, so.
Yeah, me neither. I've always wanted to.
But keep applying.
I will. One of these years I'll be
I've always
surprised.
wanted to go out to Colorado and do that. I've got 270, so it's more than capable.
you'd be more likely to draw a tag for an elk hunt in Hawaii than you will in Minnesota.
I don't doubt it.
So coming from Aberdeen, how did you get to Alexandria?
So I was actually down in Brookings, South Dakota.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the weekend. We usually shot a lot of ducks and geese on the weekends, me and my friends, like Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night. We hunted hard.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a really, really nice day. The mallards weren't quite down from Canada yet. And I went to Brookings, South Dakota to hang out with my friends or a party. And I met my soon-to-be wife there.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, I'm from Alexandria, Minnesota. And she's like, my dad has a small machine shop. I'm like, oh, cool. So we went over there. He owned Alexandria Profab, which is right next to APF, and they 3.5 million parts a year for Polaris Industries, Minn Kota, and a bunch of gun parts.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was really cool. She was getting close to graduating. I proposed to her. We're like, where do we move? So our plan was to move to Alexandria, Minnesota to work so she could study, get a nursing license, and then we were going to move to Alaska.
Oh.
And I was going to do something in the trade of outdoors, so fishing guide or something along that line, or try to get into it. Just for my passion I had, I think that's where I would have been the most happy at, and then I can get into the APF stuff here, how that all kicked off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
That was the next question.
Yep.
Yeah, so moved to Alexandria, and I was actually working for my father-in-law, and my background was carpentry. So this was right about 2011, 2012. Didn't quite want to get into the carpentry side of things. I like it, but I'm like, what do I want to do in 30 years type of deal? And machining really always interested me. I thought you could take a block of aluminum and make it into something cool, or steel or titanium or Inconel.
Yep.
So I was kind of pretty interested in that. And my father-in-law was like, well, I heard DPMS was leaving Minnesota. And he's like, you want to start a gun shop? I'm like, I like guns. Like, So him and I put the first quote unquote APF rifle together in his office. He's like, hey, try to get this dust cover on this. So I watched like 3 YouTube videos because I had no idea. And we put one together, we shot it. I'm like, this is cool. Like, so our intent was to do kind of like a online AR parts retailer.
Yeah.
And I went into the general store. Jason Lee was actually in there, and we offered him a job. And he's like, yeah, I want to do that. So I gave him a tour of the machine shop, and he was pretty interested. And so we kind of started that as an online parts side of APF. And I think we sold 2 bull carrier groups in 2 months. It was not going to make it.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, let's create a model of rifle, and making all the parts next door. We create a model of rifle, and there is now APF branded AR, but the old old bullseye with the APF logo in it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I went to Young Guns in Aberdeen, and I went to Lucas. I'm like, hey, bud, you want to buy this? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty easy. And he's like, but you need a box. I'm like, what? You need a box and a warranty. And I'm like, so we're green at this. Like we just had the passion for creating firearms. And my passion for the MSR is the fact that it's a hunting gun first.
Right.
Yeah.
And the familiarity, we were in a war for 20 years. You get a lot of people coming back. And before that, even the Vietnam vets coming back, and it's muscle memory. They're familiar. They like the platform. You can go, I think we make 32 calibers in our rifle.
Jeez.
So I left Lucas's. I'm like, okay, if we're going to make a business, we got to make a business. And currently we were in an old mechanic building that's now attached to the rest of our facility. And I think we did 500 guns out of that one room the first year.
Oh, wow.
And that's because I went to the Bakken oil field up in like Wilson, Watford City, just started going to gun shops. I'm like, hey, this is APF product. We make a AR-15 and 5.56. Okay, I'll order 20 of them. I'm like, holy crap.
Wow.
Holy crap, this is awesome. Yeah. So I think I sold 46 guns my first day out there.
Oh, wow.
Just walking into shops.
And what year was that about?
That was 2014.
Okay.
So right when ARs were hot.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the people, the dealers. They're all well like-minded. They believe in our country. They love our country. Mm-hmm. A lot of them believe in God. That's important to me. And not to get into those weeds, but yeah, it's just, I'm like, I want to be in this industry. I want to make a career out of it. And we were not quite married, my wife and I, and it just was kind of a cool thing.
And now you're the president.
Yes.
That's your official title, right?
Yes, I'm the president of APF. So kind of founded it with the father-in-law, and he sold out to my partner Keith, and it's just been history since.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, that's pretty cool. So how big are you guys now? I mean, employee wise.
So we're running. We have 9 employees.
Okay.
So with those 9 employees, we were doing sales, build up, purchasing. We do all of our Cerakoting in house.
Yep.
So the Cerakote's awesome because it's ceramic based paint. It's very minimal as far as adding material to a gun, and it holds up pretty well. So do all that in house, and then at one point we had quite a few. I'd say 16 employees, just with the market slowing down, and they were contract employees. So it was like, hey, we're going to try this out. If it stays busy, well, So,
right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty cool. How many guns do you guys, kick out a month or yearly? Maybe yearly's better. Or?
So yearly we go from, I'd say that 5,000 to 12,000, kind of fluctuates year by year. I think that peak of the COVID and election season there, we did close to 13,000 guns.
Wow.
That'll keep you busy.
Yeah.
For sure.
A lot of headaches.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, but, and that's nationwide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I looked at your dealer map, and you've got lots of dealers to ship out to, it looks like.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you'll get a call from Arkansas, you get a call from Alaska, you get a call from California, and they're just people that want your product, and that's makes you pretty proud.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love the product. I've got 2 APFs.
Yeah,
I've got a 5.56 and then a 350 Legend recently. So I thought that was, and I might be looking at a few more.
Nice.
just to add to it.
You just never know, right?
Right, exactly. And especially because when we get them in at the shop, then I always have to play with them, and mess around. So it's just kind of one of those things.
Yeah, and you guys have some great sales, and you always have the clearance vault, which is always fun to look through.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never, we're about turning and developing new things. So we don't like stuff sitting around very long. Okay. And then, look at our clearance vault. We have all, even show models that go out and we're like, hey, it's been at a few shows. We don't want to send it to a dealer. Might have a few scratches on it. Yeah, that's always, I look in there and I'm like, guys, I wanted that.
Right, exactly.
Like, you can't have it. And I'm like, I suppose you got to pay it for them.
Well, I've got to confess, I do not own an APF yet. But I am hoping to change that. And you know what? I'll trade you. I've got a Keltec Sub 2000.
Gen 3.
Gen 3. Keeps the optic on there. But I don't think it's worth as much as the products you're putting out.
Well, we'll help you out.
So what exactly, the manufacturing in-house, what part of the firearm do you guys do for the most part? I mean, obviously your lowers or...
So we get a lot of stuff from next door still.
Okay.
Alexandria Profab makes a lot of our stuff. My wife's grandpa currently owns that. Her dad sold, or he wanted to retire and fish. And so his dad actually bought him out. So we get a lot of stuff from next door, and we get a lot of parts in Minnesota.
Awesome.
Barrels we get from Shaw Barrels out of Pennsylvania, or Proof Research out of Kalispell, Montana.
Yep.
We don't currently make anything in-house. We do altercations, stuff like that, but we are looking at adding machines down the road.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's quite the investment.
It is. And, machines, there's a good plus to it, but there's a good plus having good relationships with other businesses too, because you're also feeding those families, buying products. So it kind of goes around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Awesome. So back to your, was it Cerakote?
Yeah.
You guys do that in-house.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And you also do, I saw on the website, engraving.
Yes.
Is that done in-house?
Yeah. Yeah. So we do a suppressor engraving. All of our rails are engraved, uppers. Okay. Some police department, like Rochester PD, just bought 96 rifles, and they wanted their badge and their Rochester Police Department on side of the firearms, so we added that on there. And we do some pretty cool things with it.
So can you get that on any rifle you buy from you guys?
Yeah, if you get a hold of the guys to our sales team, we can build you a custom gun.
Okay.
Engrave whatever you want on it. MDHA or...
Right.
I was thinking we had one engraved a couple years ago under State Habitat.
I think I saw that gun.
We were going to do more, but it just hasn't happened yet. So we did do one that year, and that went really well. Yeah. And I've been thinking about just doing some custom stuff for those certain events, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would be really fun. So.
Well, and too, like when you do the special logoing, or if you're a business looking for promo guns for selling something, you don't have to do a big logo. You can do a small MDHA there with a small deer. I mean, you can do whatever you want, and we'll help you out with it.
I'm thinking of getting one that just says Jimmy and Dino's first 6.5 cruiser.
No, you got to say 6.5 bleed more.
That comes with the elk hunt, right?
Can you Cerakote it in like the Muddy Girl camo?
Should I tell them they can come elk hunting with me if they shoot a 6.5
I will definitely shoot a Muddy Girl one.
Right?
I don't even care.
We'll get us a down the barrel one.
All right. There you go.
That would be cool. Get that
there you go.
On there. DTB.
For sure.
So you referenced it a few times, the MSR, Modern Sporting Rifle. Do you prefer that over?
I do because it's politically correct.
Right.
It's such bull.
Yeah.
Right.
But
exactly.
it's because that's what it is, right?
Yep.
It's the grandpa's, it's soon to be the grandpa's lever gun sitting in the corner, right?
Yep.
It's not replacing the lever gun, I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
But it is that go-to gun because you can do so much with it.
Yep.
As far as home defense, hunting, target shooting, and you can do a wide variety of calibers too, which is which we like.
Yeah.
Extremely modular.
Yeah.
What I like about it is, being modular to where you can customize it. I mean, my first, AR MSR was a Ruger, and that was probably back in 2010, maybe even before then.
Yeah.
Just bought it, right off the showroom, and I added stuff to it. Obviously added red dot, foregrip. I changed the buttstock on it. Added some rail covers, and that was cool.
Yeah.
So and I added a light to it. That was my kind of my home defense gun for a while, and then I made a 223 Wild, and I kind of decked that out kind of the same way, a little bit different, and then. I've got 2 pistols, a 9mm and a 5.56 that I've decked out, changed stuff around, and then actually the recent 350 Legend, I added M-LOK rail covers.
Oh, nice.
So because it's the black rifle, so I wanted some FDE on it.
Yeah, accent.
Yeah, so I changed out the grip, I changed out the buttstock, and then I added some M-LOK rail covers, and put them in different areas, and I don't know, just. You can customize it. That's what I really like about it.
The girls call that accessorize.
Accessorize. Yeah. I accessorized my rifle.
Yeah.
So that way it was, and that's the cool thing about it, And then even on, my one pistol, I changed out the trigger. I changed out the buffer tube.
Mm-hmm. And you can do all those things yourself.
It.
So that makes that gun that's on the shelf your gun because you're doing what you want to the firearm.
Yep.
And that's why we do the Cerakote, because you just don't have black guns on the shelf anymore. There's so many different colors. There's a color called Tactical Mermaid.
Yes.
And we sell more to men than we do women.
Tactical Mermaid?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Huh.
We have one of those at the shop.
Do we?
Yeah.
That's going to be his first gun he buys.
It depends on the light. It's purple, it's blue, it's
pink.
Yeah. It's kind of teal. Yeah,
You can decapitate squirrels with a Tactical Mermaid, right?
What caliber is that you got there, Dino?
That one's in 223.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The only one I can picture in the shop right now is that 6.5 Creedmoor in the OD green.
Oh, that's a sharp gun.
Yeah,
It's a nice looking gun.
I do have one in the Bull Shark.
Oh,
It's
Bull
like
Shark
that,
gray?
Yeah, it's like that flat gray. That's really unique.
And that's the cool thing about Cerakote is like you're gonna like one color and you're gonna like one color and you're gonna like one color. It makes that gun on the shelf that person's gun because they're customizing it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And they can do what they want with it. So that's another reason we like Cerakote, just because of the durability and the customization that you can do with it.
Yeah.
I did a gun for Zach Brown. From the Zach Brown band.
Yeah.
It was a 300 Win Mag compact with an American flag on it. And he's
cool.
like, I'm going to shoot bears from my boat with a... I'm like, in Alaska, I'm like, I want your job.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, the customization I really enjoy with the ARs and everything. That's what I like about it. And with this 350 Legend, I'm customizing it so my son can shoot it, a little bit better, just so that way, with the adjustable stock and everything. And that's the great thing about it.
And the felt recoil is so reduced. And it's, that's why I really like it too for the youth, because it's low recoil and it's customizable and it's adjustable. And you can get that youth shooter. They are intimidating because of the look, because of how people portray them, but it's a comfortable gun to shoot.
Yeah, exactly. That's the most enjoyable thing about it. I think I've got, what did I say? 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 of them. I might be able to add a few more, I suppose.
There's always some. At least that's one nice thing about you guys. You have so many different calibers you can get.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with half of these calibers.
There's some that aren't even on there.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll have to pull it up here.
Well, I know like 22 ARC. I'm not too terribly familiar with that.
Yeah, that one just launched with Hornady.
Oh, it's a new one.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be comparable to like that 22-250, but an AR-15 platform.
Huh.
So it's like a Grendel neck down to a 22 cal bullet.
Okay.
Yeah. So loaded out really far, so you get some really good BCs with it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That might be my new thermal coyote gun, but
there you go.
Yeah, we'll have to get into that a little bit too.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So obviously, you guys do a lot for local law enforcement or Minnesota law enforcement, some military stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we're currently in close to 200 agencies around multiple states. So we have the Dakotas, North Dakota, South Dakota, a lot of agencies in Minnesota. A lot of state agencies in Minnesota. We're also in Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, a little bit everywhere.
Wow.
So I think even Illinois, south of Illinois, but we love the law enforcement community.
Yep.
Because my thought is, if they have an APF rifle, when I'm gone, my town's safe. But I tell you, the first gun I sold to law enforcement was St. Cloud PD. I didn't sleep that night because, there is. I mean, that officer's relying on that gun if it comes down to it.
Yep.
That's the last thing they want to do.
Right.
But to have that safety net of that rifle makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Then overseas contracts, we've done some stuff with different countries. Can't say them all.
Yeah.
One was Saudi Arabia because they can privately own non-NATO caliber guns. So since we make so many different calibers,
Yep.
they can kind of shop around and yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Never would have thought that.
No, that's me neither. I remember sitting at SHOT Show and Prince walks up from Saudi. There's a lot of Princes over there, but I'm like, this is a Cadillac and this is a Ferrari. He's like, Ferrari? He's like, Bugatti. I'm like, oh, that's a $3 million car.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, you have that money.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Interesting.
The different people you meet in the industry, or you're sitting at a gas station and a squad car pulls up and they're like, hey, I love my gun. I even bought one for myself. And, it means a lot to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Zach Butcher, he's our engineer and our shop foreman. He makes sure APF doesn't burn to the ground. He does a great job. His dad was a Chisago County police deputy, so it holds pretty dear. And he passed away in a non-duty accident.
Okay.
And they put his badge number on their MRAP, which we dropped some sniper rifles off at Chisago County, and Zach got to take a picture with his dad, and it was pretty emotional. So
I bet.
pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's awesome.
So you sell a lot of these 7mm Remington mag?
Yeah, 7 mag and 300 Win mag are probably our top two calibers in the MLR. We just released 7 PRC and 300 PRC in that gun.
Okay.
We were doing a 33 nozzler. We still can. It's just a lot of gun. It's a lot. It's violent. We'll just say that. It's like a pissed off Lapua in a semi-auto.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I had one guy down in Texas. He's like, I want to shoot pigs, and he's like, I want one of those 33 nozzlers. I'm like, you want to shoot pigs? He's like, yeah, I want to line 3 of them up with my thermal, and I want to kill all 3 of them because we're hunting at tournaments. I'm like, so he did, and he's just evaporating pigs. So
Wow.
They're shooting 3-4 pigs in a row.
Yeah.
With a
That's creative.
300 grain bullet.
I think it might be something we may have to try.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. That's why when we went to Kansas, I was hoping you had them down there. But
Yeah, no, they got rid of them years ago. I wish, So what's your top selling caliber? Probably 5.5 223, obviously.
I would say that for the mainstream calibers, for sure. 22 250s are probably our top seller on our non-mainstream calibers. Because we are the only manufacturer that makes a reliable 22 semi-automatic 22 250. We designed and patented a mag that has a cam follower in it, so it keeps that round straight as it feeds into the chamber. That gun sells.
Yeah, I was actually looking at that a while before. I was debating on building my 223 Wild or going with the 22 250, and although I still might add it, to my collection at some point. But yeah, it's a really nice caliber. I do like the 22 250.
It's a barn burner, man. People are, that's way too fast. That's going to burn barrels out. I'm like, if you can burn a barrel out, we'll get you another barrel.
Challenge accepted.
It has happened.
Really?
Oh, wow. Yeah. The guys that are like, I went prairie dog hunting.
I suppose.
Didn't let the barrel cool down, burn the rifling out. But pretty rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Jeez.
So do you guys make anything in 450?
Yeah, we do a 450 Bushmaster.
You do?
Yep.
What mags do you use for that?
So those are ACS mags.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the best mags we've used, but then we also make some modifications to the mags.
Because I have one of those, and it's just, I struggle with getting them to feed properly.
Yeah, we can help you out with that if you're in Alec. We'll bring it in there, and we'll get it fixed up for you.
Yeah. I'll have to look into that.
We just started doing the 400 Legend also. That's a new one.
Yeah, I heard that was a new one coming out.
So I think we'll be shipping guns the end of June on that one.
Okay.
Yep. Down in Iowa and Michigan and the straight wall caliber states.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, I'm not either. I just know that it was a new one coming out. I've seen it on, through distributors, but that's about all. I don't know much about it.
I've seen limited ammo.
Yeah.
So I think we'll probably start ramping that up in August. I'm guessing maybe July here.
I suppose. So we have on here shotgun calibers. How come we don't have any?
We get that a lot, actually.
Really?
I wouldn't mind doing a 410 down the road.
That'd be pretty neat.
You can get a 12 gauge caliber gun from any gun shop, and it's all from Turkey.
Yep.
Right,
So it's a hard market to be competitive in.
I suppose.
And they've done an AK.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind trying one in an AR. But there's some other things that we're going to be pursuing here. Just stay tuned, and we kind of want to diversify, a little bit, try to expand our horizon, because the AR market is a volatile market. It is you have to be in front of people, and there's a lot of competition, and there's good competition, which is good, because the bad, quote unquote, bad manufacturers out there, they get weeded out pretty quick.
Yep.
So it's good to have competition, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition. Just the basic ones that we hear of or see all the time, especially me. The Delton. They make a good rifle. They've got that different price point. Great Lakes Firearms.
Yeah.
We kind of handle a decent amount of those. We've had some CMMG over the time, but I don't know. They sure seem to. They're pretty proud of their stuff. I mean, they've got good stuff, but man, they really jumped up really high.
Yeah.
On a lot of their stuff. So
it's our joke at APF is always like, oh, hey, we came out with color. Give it 2 weeks, Great Lakes will start it. And it does. It's like they watch our website, which is, that makes you feel good too, right?
Yeah, sure.
People are like, hey, I want to be like APF.
Yep.
That makes me feel good. What I was talking about, the price point, kind of getting that price point gun.
Yep.
We do offer a few price point options, which we do a good, better, best, right? We do our entry-level rifle, then we do our 2.0 series, which is all billet, ambidextrous. Then we do our elite series, which come into like a 5-pound gun, 6-pound gun.
Yep.
To the guy that's like, hey, I want a really light gun for varmint hunting, or I want a 3-gun gun, or I just like the look of this firearm. Kind of get into that higher end market a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. But you can't just be like, hey, we make a $6,000 223. It's like,
Right.
we'll be about half that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Well, I'm just curious if I were to call in and say I want an APF rifle for deer hunting, what are you selling me? Which model, which caliber?
So I'm a big fan of our DMR. First question our guys always ask, where are you hunting? What other intentions do you have with the gun? So a guy like you up here, far shot, maybe 100 yards?
Maybe 100.
Maybe. I'm a big fan of the blackout.
Yeah.
Just because you can do such a wide variety of grain weight, and you don't have that over penetration like you would with those bigger calibers. And they're suppressed nice too. I'm a big fan of the Grendel. That's such an unappreciated round. It's unbelievable. But I've shot coyotes at 600 yards,
Yeah.
just hammers them. But I would probably steer you something towards that. I probably wouldn't say, hey, buy a 308, because you're not going to have long. But if you're like, hey, I want to go to Texas thermal hunting, maybe once a year, maybe once every couple of years, like, hey, 308, 260 is not a bad option either. Nothing kills a pig better than a 308. I've shot them with a lot of different calibers.
Well, it sounds like this Nosler does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Especially they're stacked up. Yeah.
$5 a shot. If you want to do affordable, shoot a 308. If you want to kill them, shoot a 33 knot.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, so we kind of, when you buy a APF, it's you're also buying knowledge from our guys.
Yep.
You're buying essentially our guys' kids' meals. That's what it's proud. That's what I love about Minnesota too. Is it's such a proud state. If it's Minnesota made and you're from Minnesota, you're going to buy it.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if it's $20 higher than the next guy,
Right.
because it's a very proud state. Which coming from South Dakota, we're proud too. But coming over here and it's just like it doesn't feel like I'm missing back home, right? It's a welcoming, nice state. Minnesota friendly, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Minnesota nice.
They tell us.
That's definitely something we strive for. It's why we work with APF. It's why we work with Maluna, Tacticam. These are all Minnesota-based companies. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's kind of why, a few years ago, down at the trap shoot, I had reached out, because I've always, been in ARs and everything. So when I saw you guys had a booth there, I was like, I'm going to go reach out. And obviously I could, purchase them anyways. Like, I want to reach out and see if we can, strike up a friendship and a partnership and do that. And it's been great. And we love, like you said, to support Minnesota companies and everything like that. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for that. And we appreciate it too.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to go down to Reed's gun fair this year and shoot the automatic, but didn't make it down there this year.
We'll have a private shoot
There
at
we go.
APF. We have some pretty cool toys over there.
Yeah. We'll be down there in a few weeks.
Yeah.
We will, for the trap shoot. Yep.
Right.
I'm thinking maybe later this summer we'll do an on location podcast, and we'll go out to the range with you guys.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Get a tour of the factory and just hang out.
Yeah,
you made the drive up here. We'll make the drive down there.
Yeah,
sure.
I would love that.
Yeah,
so would
definitely
we.
do that. Yeah, exactly. Our wives might not like it, but
they might
And then
not
we
let us
can just swap my Kel-Tec for something. while we're doing that.
there we go.
What? Hello.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building a hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota. All right, so what's the main difference between the AR-10 and the AR-15 for those that don't know?
Yeah, so your AR-15 is more based off of your mil spec rifle, like your 5.56 NATO 223. We do a 204, 6 mil arc, 22 arc, 350 Legend, 400 Legend, 350 Bush, 6.5 Grendel. So a lot of the smaller calibers, I would say.
Yep.
But anywhere from, you can run a 204 to a 32 grain bullet up to a 450 Bushmaster and run a 350 grain bullet. So you can hunt a lot of different animals with those calibers. Mm-hmm. Or you can have your 5.56 for your home defense or your 300 blackout. Those are multiple great calibers for those purposes too.
Yep.
The AR-10, you're going to get into more of that based off the 7.62 by 51 or 308. A lot of similarity there with the 22-250, 6 mil Creed, 6.5 Creed. I said a lot of Creed there.
Yeah, you did. That was
22-250. You can get into more of those big game calibers, but then still dabble in that lightweight varmint caliber too.
Okay.
you're going to have less felt recoil with an AR-10 because they're known to be a little more heavier, just because you're running with a longer stroke on that carrier.
Yep.
I'm a fan of what are you using it for? You know, do I have one caliber of AR? No. But if I had to choose, I would probably go towards that AR-15 platform because you can hunt a lot of different animals with that platform. That's my take on it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Right now, I only have AR-15. Been looking at getting an AR-10, you know, and one of my purposes was even for the AR-15 was, okay, so I've got the lower, and it will accept, you know, obviously these different calibers. All I got to do, kind of like my Pro Hunter, you know, I got the lower, I just got to buy different uppers, more or less, you know, barrels for the Pro Hunter. But it's like, okay, so if I get a lower in the AR-15, I could buy a 350 Legend upper. I could go with a, you know, 204. I could go with anything, and then I just swap out these uppers. Well, that's no fun. It's like, because then you got to swap. That's a lot of work. Then you got to swap them out. You know, certain guns I want different buttstocks for, or different foregrips. So it's like, yeah, I just need but the concept's there, obviously, so it could be done, you know, and everything. So
yeah, and you brought up the 204.
204 Ruger. Yep.
Yeah, I've been looking at that. What is that best suited for?
So, I know a lot of guys that shoot coyotes with it, but I use it a lot when I would go out west and hunt prairie dogs.
Okay.
It's fast and flat. Right. My longest confirmed shot in prairie dog was 836 with my 204.
Really?
It was like he was having a heart attack. He just kind of tipped over. There wasn't much energy left, and I didn't do it on the first shot or the 19th. I did it on the 20th. So just you got to play the wind a little bit there because it gets a little breezy out west when you're hunting prairie dogs. But yeah, I'm a fan of that 204. You can do a 32 grain or 40 grain,
really?
And I've shot a 200-yard group the size of a quarter. So they are barn burners.
Yeah. So what would that compare to? That maybe I know compared to like a 17 or bigger 17?
222.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
222 Swift.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a 222 Fireball.
Okay.
I would say it's a little more comparable to that, and between that and 223.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's right up there.
Yeah. Speaking of 17, do you even make it 22?
No,
I didn't think so.
We've been talking about it.
Okay.
I would like to because I love shooting stripey gophers with suppressed 22.
Yep.
It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to shoot one of my rifles in this. I don't want to be driving around the shooting park and blasting them with a 223. You know, it gets a little hairy.
Right.
Yeah. So 22 is definitely on the radar.
That would be fun. I have a lot of those around my place, and I've been eyeballing what I should shoot them with. And boy, that'd be fun with a little 22.
Yeah, all AR 22.
Yeah. So explain a little bit more on, do you know that like the 223 Wild? That's always, you know, I get questions on that a lot, and I'm still trying to figure out the exact, you know, best way to say it, but you might be able to explain a little bit better.
So 223 Wild's a hybrid chamber. It's not a hybrid round. It's a hybrid chamber that helps you shoot 5.56 and 223 more accurately. A lot of guns are chambered in 5.56. Well, 5.56 are typically loaded a little hotter because it's a NATO style round. And the 223 is that you can kind of get into a little more of your varmint cal bullets or your deer hunting bullets in that chamber.
Yep.
Yeah. So it just kind of helps you shoot both a little more accurately. We get a lot of questions on that.
Yeah.
If your gun is chambered in 223 Wild, you are winning. I'm a big fan of it.
And that's kind of what I've always told people. It's like, you know, if you want to do more than just your basic 223 5.56, then obviously purchase one that's chambered in 223 Wild, which a lot of them are now. You know, you see more and more. But if you just want to do, you know, your basic 223 stuff, then, you know, do that. But 5.56 better off because then you can handle more, you know, cartridges.
And if you have an AR just chambered in 223, do not shoot 5.56 out of it.
Right.
And that's a big misconception with the 223 Wild. Is can I shoot either or? Yes, you can. We do a lot of law enforcement sales, and a lot of departments want 5.56 because it is a NATO style caliber. So it's more familiar with the people on the department and their purchasers and a lot of that. So
Makes sense.
Yeah, because I have a 223 Wild, and I built it that way for that reason. So then I can, even get those 223s, that are, higher than the 62 grain. What is
75.
75 grain and stuff.
But you can still shoot those out of the 5.56, right? It's just not as accurate.
Correct. You can do that. It's just not correct. It's not as accurate, and the twist rates get big on that.
Okay.
Like that 1-8 to 1.7.5.
Right.
1-9 is a good one. So if you're in that mark, you're pretty solid.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So let's talk about the shooting club
Yes.
Yeah.
down in Alexandria.
Yeah. So last year, Zach Johnson and I and Steve Gould and Tyler Notch bought the Alexandria Shooting Park. We want a shooting destination for central Minnesota, where you can come out and shoot trap, shoot archery, potentially shoot long gun. Down the road, indoor range is on the horizon. We want that shooting destination. So either if you're going out west, you're going to go on your first Colorado elk hunt. We can help you get your gun zeroed in. We're going to be carrying a lot of different things, but our vision, or the shooting park, that was part of our vision for the shooting park. But we also wanted to buy the shooting park because it holds such a great event out there as the Minnesota High School Trap Shoot.
Oh, okay.
I think this year there's 8,800 kids registered
Wow.
in 9 days. It's the largest shooting event in the world.
Yep.
And the safest
Yeah.
high school sport in Minnesota, which, you can get into the weeds of politics, but
Right.
you can show people that kids can be responsible with guns if they're taught it.
Right.
And that's a big education I think should be in school, is firearm safety. Because if my kids have been around guns, they know not to touch them. They know all the things to do with guns. But if my kid has a kid over and that doesn't know, and all my guns are locked up, but there's places that they aren't. And that kid should know how to be responsible with
Right.
a
It's
firearm.
not a toy. You don't pick it up.
Exactly.
Like somebody like you do your toy guns.
And with games nowadays and the movies and
Yep.
shows, they're portrayed as toys.
Yep.
And they're very serious. And I think that's something that is really great to see, is all these youth kids from anywhere from far northern Minnesota up to Canada down to Iowa border. And they all are out there because they like to shoot. And it's really good to see. And there's a lot of businesses that support it in our state. And it's awesome.
Yeah, MDHA is one, right?
Yeah.
We are. Yeah. We've been a platinum sponsor for, God, how many years now?
Quite a while. I don't know the exact number, but I would for sure say at least probably 8, if not 10, maybe a little bit more than that for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I would say if you want to, 1, feel really, really good about the next generation of hunters, and 2, feel really, really bad about yourself, go watch those kids shoot. I mean,
There's a lot of 99s, 98s, 98. You're like, man, you're 100 pounds and you're shooting a 12 gauge better than, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's impressive for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool to. I've been down the line, behind, and when you've got the big day of the kids, so you look down the whole line of shooters, and it is just awesome. Because I'm trying to think, how many stations do you have?
So we have 20 houses,
Okay.
and we'll throw about 1.5 million clays in those 9 days.
Wow.
That is crazy.
It
I
is.
didn't realize it was the largest.
Yes. Yep.
I
Minnesota,
know
and
that.
Minnesota is the largest one. Yeah.
Largest in
the
the world.
largest high school. Yeah, I think it's the largest high school event too.
I believe it is.
Yeah, and shooting event. So they've set a lot of records with that, and there are more kids keep coming, more schools keep coming on board. Schools in the metro are coming on board, which is awesome.
Oh,
It's the fastest growing sport, or it was the fastest growing sport a few years ago, because it just leaps and bounds. I mean, within a few years, they were,
they have more kids in high school trap than girls and boys hockey combined.
Yeah.
wow.
that makes sense to me.
And we're a hockey state.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, are we a trap state now?
Might be
I
a trap
think so.
state now.
Well, it sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, and I love too. I mean, like you said, you get these schools from literally the entire state. You know, every corner of the state and everywhere in between, and there's a good majority of those teams that on the back of their shirts, there's MDHA whatever chapter as one of their sponsors.
That's awesome.
It's really fun to see.
Yeah. So support your schools with if you can help out and get those kids out there shooting, because like you said, it's the next generation coming up that is a sport we care about, or an industry we care about.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and this year we'll be down there again, all 9 days. 9 days? 8 days?
Yeah, 9 days.
9 days. And we are giving out free membership to any of the shooters, any of the youth that are
That's awesome.
participating. So that'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll get 8,800 new youth four-corn members to MDHA.
That would be awesome.
Well, when you guys are there, come and see me.
We will.
I'll be driving around.
Yeah, that'd be
Shooting gophers.
Yeah. There's too many people at the park. If you see me on the far east side of the property, that's me just trying to get away from the heat and the shotgun shells going.
Yeah, no doubt. I've thought about pulling the camper down there and just hanging out for all 9 days, but man, that's a lot.
It's a dedication.
It is.
Yeah.
But it is really cool. You should head down and just check it out. I mean, it's something to see.
Yeah,
it really
I
is.
haven't been down there.
And it's typically decent weather for the most part. I mean, obviously
You've had some storms though.
Yep, we have. But
It's warm.
Last year? I know there was some.
Was that last
I think
year?
the very first day, or the first 2 days, it was just windy as all get out. I was like, man, that would have been a tough day for those kids.
There's not a lot of trees on the property.
No.
How big is the property?
We have 162 acres there.
Okay. All
So-
dedicated to shooting then?
Yeah, a majority. We're looking at doing sporting clays out there on the east side of the property,
Okay.
just to be able to utilize the whole property.
Right.
And I think sporting clays is a lot of fun. It's like golf with shotguns.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just can't drink, but
Right.
you still
Probably
shoot
a good
shotguns.
idea.
Yeah.
I've done more sporting clays than trap, around here. But I would like to get into a little bit more, but I need a little bit nicer shotgun and just more time, I
Yeah,
guess.
blame it on the shotgun.
Yeah, exactly.
I shot at my first 75 last year, so 75 in a row.
Wow.
And then Stephen Gold's like, "You want to try another one?" I said, "Nope," because it's getting into my head. And
Wait till your head.
yeah, but there's people out there that are run 100 straight,
Yeah.
back to back to back to back. And it's a dedication. It's a good sport.
Yeah.
But people are very serious, and I'm not always serious. So I stand online and I'm, talking to people next to me, and you get that look, and it's like, oh yeah, I got to remember.
Stay in your lane, buddy.
Stay in your lane. I know I own the place, but you don't act like that.
So is that all that's out there then? Is shotgun?
Yeah. So we actually have archery,
Okay.
fixed archery targets, and then we have a 3D archery range. So if you're come up for the high school shoot, you guys go shoot that course, and
Yeah. How many targets you got on the 3D range?
I think it's right around 30.
Okay.
30, 40.
Oh, cool.
There's
Good
quite
course.
a few. Yeah, it's a good course. I like archery. I just, we have a 7, 4, and 3-year-old, so it's I'm being dad first
Yeah.
before I
Yeah.
start picking up a bow again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we got to shoot more bow. This
Yeah. My kids are older, and I still can't hardly shoot.
year. Yeah, no doubt.
It's
So-
like, and this year I want to shoot rifles more, and so it's like now it's like, okay, do go rifle range, bow
You
range.
can do them both. They're pretty close to each other.
We could, but then I just got to get more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at boarding school.
Yep.
You boys are going to California. Please
Daddy's
come
got to
on.
shoot.
I got to eat some squirrel.
I'm going to try that. Jared's going to cook us up some squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be happy to.
Do it.
Or-
Do you handle your social media?
I don't. So Aaron Chittum does. He's one of our sales guys. Aaron was a Aberdeen, South Dakota police deputy,
Okay.
and worked with the U.S. Marshals a little bit over there. And he does a lot of his social media.
Okay.
And he does a great job.
Does he?
Yeah.
We always just ask if you guys, how much hate you guys get.
You know, I currently got off social media, but it's seasonal, right?
Yeah.
Depends who's politically running, then it gets all the
What issues are
all the crazies out. But
Yep.
we try to relay to people, hey, we're making the modern sporting rifle
right
for people to hunt with them. You know, the intention is not for someone to shoot somebody with it.
Absolutely.
You know, but that is the right we have for a Second Amendment in this state or in our country is self-defense. And it's very important to me. I'm a carry conceal guy, carry all the time. Yep. I love my Second Amendment right. And so to be part of that community is huge. But we do get a fair share of people that aren't real big on us. I remember being down in Dallas, Carolina for the NRA show, and some lady came up and called me a baby killer, and I'm like,
oh man,
ma'am, I believe in the Lord. I'm by far from that. And I don't want to get down that political road, but
right.
I'm making a gun for the next generation. I'm not making, you're buying the gun, but I want to make the gun that your kid has and your kids' kids have. And I want to make a firearm that's sitting in the corner, right?
The new rifle to hand down.
Yeah, the new rifle to hand down. You know, I love what I do. I love the community I'm with. And, there's two sides for a reason.
Right.
You know, and so we usually get a little bit of hate on it, but we kind of try to weed it out or block that person or,
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everybody does. Right, guys?
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about. Everybody loves me.
Yeah.
I don't post my address. I'll say that.
I don't either. But
That don't matter anymore.
unfortunately, the county does.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can. Then people they can find anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Must be a real treat.
Well, back to kind of the Second Amendment, that as always, there was a lot of legislation proposed this year in Minnesota. Anything from assault weapons bans, quote unquote assault weapons bans, to the storage laws and all of that. And, MDHA opposed all of that along with a number of great organizations, and nothing passed. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. They did pass a ban on binary triggers in the state of Minnesota this year. So, you squeeze the trigger, it goes off. You release the trigger, it goes off. Those are no longer legal in the state of Minnesota, but nothing else passed this year. So,
yeah, if there's a time to be a proud Second Amendment person, right now is the time.
Yeah.
In this state, get behind your MDHAs, get behind your Minnesota gun legislators. Get behind the people that care about what you do. Mm-hmm. It's not time to be shy.
Right.
Support the people that support you. Really, really important to me too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, and something else we kind of touched on, somewhat related. I mean, it's a legislative issue that we talked about, I think, before we started recording, is the shotgun zone in the state of Minnesota. MDHA has, for a number of years, wanted to see the elimination of that shotgun zone and to go all legal firearms statewide. There was another push for that again this year. It ended up not passing. But I don't know if you or APF even has a stance on that issue.
Yeah. So just talking to other people around your organizations, and it was never a safety issue.
Right.
It was a deer population issue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you look at that Todd County area, you look at Otter Tail County, the deer populations are insane. You see dead deer on the side of the road all the time. Yeah. There's too many deer. I think that having rifles, if it's a caliber restriction, if that's where people are scared, or if it's, hey, you can't shoot a rifle unless you're sitting in a deer stand, or you're in an elevated platform, something like that, where you're shooting more of at a downward angle. We don't have the population like they do down by the metro or down by Rochester or Duluth, or that South Rochester, Minneapolis area. We don't have the population where you know, you have deer hunters in every section, you know, every 20-acre chunk.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of having rifle zones statewide. And talking to the deer processors, they're like, you get someone that brings in a deer that was shot with a rifle and then the shot with a shotgun, the amount of meat that's wasted is unbelievable.
Oh, I bet.
You know, talk about not wanting waste, right?
Yep.
Right.
I think you're very limited on your shotgun because, first of all, slug guns are usually pretty expensive.
Yep.
You know, I'm not saying everyone needs to go out there with an AR, you know, because ARs are typically a little more expensive. I think that having the rifle would make it more accessible for a lot of people that can afford the $30 a box for 5 shots. And the ability to get out to that 200, 250 yard mark with a lot of, like down by us where we're flat and there's a lot of room from tree growth to tree growth, gives that person a little bit of a chance. And then you put a 20 to 12 gauge slug gun in a 12-year-old's hands and you're like, hey, shoot that deer, and it kicks the snot out of him.
Right.
Yeah.
That scares them away. You know,
Yep.
I remember shooting my first shot and I'm like, oh, that was a surprise, but you know, I wasn't a quitter. You know, I kept going after it. But shooting a 12 gauge, I've seen some of these kids shooting and they're like, man, just brutal. But like you give them a 300 blackout, it's comfortable to shoot.
Yeah.
There's no recoil. There's a lot of kinetic energy. They're accurate. You know, so I'm a big proponent of let's get it for the kids too. Yeah. It's not, you know, it's good for the adults, but get it for the kids where these kids aren't getting the crap beat out of them with a 12, 20 gauge shotgun.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I don't like shooting a 12 gauge slug. and I'm not a small guy, but it's like, yeah, you know, a few times. No, I'm good. No thanks.
It's like we have that 450 Bushmaster and you'd have 20 of them on a rack and no one wants to test fire up because it's 3 to 5 rounds every gun. And you're like, oh, you know, okay, let's do 20 more of these rifles. You know, I remember one day I test fired like 150 450 Bushmasters and it just beat the snot out of me.
I bet. That's why I like the 350 Legend.
Yeah.
I mean, your 450 was fun to shoot, but
Yeah, mine, it's not bad. I do like it. But yeah, it the 12 gauges, everybody remembers that first shot with the 12 gauge. Of course, where I grew up, it was always a joke. Hey, he's going to shoot a 12 gauge. Come watch him. You do that single shot Harrison Richards.
It's smacking you in the face.
Right, a 3-inch Magnum in there.
well, then even with you know, the shotgun zone in your guys' area, well, obviously there's no restrictions for varmint hunting.
Yeah.
So you guys are shooting clear across, you know,
exactly. You can be out there with a 300 Win Mag shooting coyotes, but you can't shoot deer with 300 Win Mag.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
we do make AR pistols, and per the statutes in Minnesota, it's legal for deer hunting in shotgun zone.
Yep.
But we sold 1,000 of those in our state, and there's a lot of people running around with those. So they're shooting rifle caliber rounds already, you know, in shotgun zone. I've shot deer out to 400 with my Grundle. You know, it was like, hey, I know I can hit this. I've done it at the range, and I punched her in the lungs. She ran 20 yards and tipped over. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
With a pistol.
With an AR pistol.
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't even shoot 400 yards with like 270 last year. I don't shoot it enough. Let's
remember, I
way.
get paid to shoot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And the ammo's paid for.
Well, that's a bonus for sure.
I may have to work. We may have to work some out here. Right. I need to get paid to shoot more.
Right? That would be handy. Although no. I'll just shut up there. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Be nice. We never really touched on it before, but turnaround time on builds. You know, what are you looking at? So you order it. Obviously, if you have to build, if it's customization, you know, what are we kind of looking at there?
Yeah. So you call the shop. Guys typically will point you to our dealers across the U.S.
Yeah.
If it's something that we've shipped out recently that they would have in stock, we'd probably send you in that direction.
Okay.
But if it's more of that custom firearm that's like, hey, this is my gun. I want to put a unicorn on the side of it,
Right.
make a tactical mermaid.
Sure.
We'll do it.
Ding.
But it's typically about 90 days is what we like to shoot
That's not
for.
bad.
Some do go farther because parts availability is still not always easy to get. But we do try to move the order within 90 days. That's our goal.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And our guys, they don't lie. So if they tell you, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know.
That's good to know.
Yeah, that communication side is really important. Where if the customer is getting close to that 90 days, being like, hey, this is what we're waiting for. You know, your gun's getting painted right now. You know, so yeah, the communication. We're still small enough where we will have that communication.
Yeah,
for sure.
So when are you going to start stamping out AKs?
Want to know something funny?
Yeah, always.
My dad goes, I don't mind you making ARs. Never make an AK. I'm like, yes, sir. He's gone now, but he's like, no, not a fan of those.
Yeah. Did he have a reason behind that, or
He was a Vietnam vet.
Okay.
oh, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll
Makes
do
sense.
it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, we better listen to him.
And he grew up on the tribes in South Dakota. So
Okay.
like Pine Ridge and
Oh, really?
48s and Sisseton. And my grandpa was the superintendent for the BIA.
Oh,
So they traveled all over the place. So he never got into guns because he was never in one place for very long. It was usually in a tribal land. And if you and most tribes in South Dakota, if you're white, you can't hunt on the land, which is understandable, but it's, yeah. Yeah.
well, that's why you don't have any AKs.
Always been intrigued by it, but I've never got one yet.
Well, no, me neither.
And
It's just
I think I'll
when
stick with the ARs.
Well, yeah, but
I think I'd probably suppress like a little SBR with
there you go.
like an AK because
Yeah.
like that 7.62 by 3.9, it's everywhere.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
The ammo's cheap, and the AKs aren't known for the accuracy, so
No.
they'll shoot that steel case stuff fine.
right.
Spray and pray,
Yeah.
pretty much, you know.
For sure. So you said you're a concealed carry guy. What's your concealed carry?
Depends where I'm at.
Oh yeah.
I typically, if I'm so in the morning, I put my pants on, put my handgun on. It's either a Glock 43X
Nice.
with the double stack, or it's the SIG 365X macro with a little more capacity.
Yeah.
I run a red dot on my SIG. My Glock is open sights with a light. Just kind of depends time of day, where I'm at,
Wow.
what handgun I'll carry. And I usually will have a rifle in a case in my truck. In a case. You heard that?
Yeah. Unless you're going hunting, you don't.
Yeah, exactly. You're under a population of 396, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like some big handguns to carry though, with the accessories on it.
Yeah, you know, I guess it's not real for comfort. It's more, I don't want to carry an extra mag.
Makes sense.
And it's, I shoot the bigger frame guns a little bit better than like the 365 or the 42, Glock 42. And I'm a big 9mm guy. I went out to Vortex Optics and did a ballistic summit with Johan Boden. He's works for Federal.
Okay.
And just watching what a 9mm bullet will do through glass, and he did 40, 45, 9mm, 357 mag. And that 9mm was up there with all of them.
Really?
Yep, with expansion and
He's going to start a fight now, isn't it?
I would agree.
I like my 45 ACP.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's an American round.
Right.
You know, there's something about it. Just talking like my wife's great grandpa. Did D-Day to the Battle of the Bulge in World War II, and his favorite gun was his 1911.
Really?
Got him out of a lot of bad situations.
I can
You know,
imagine. He's got some good stories.
he definitely did.
Yeah.
The U.S. government charged him for his M1 Grand because he was missing it after the Battle of the Bulge.
Really?
And because he had a Tommy gun, and on his way to the Ardennes, the SS was kind of moving through ahead of the American forces, and there was a paratrooper, and he's like, "You got to take this Tommy gun." And Floyd's like, "Why is that?" He's like, "Where you're going, you're going to need it."
Oh, wow.
And he needed it.
Yeah.
You know, I think he was one of 6 out of 600 to live out of his unit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, from day one to the end. Yeah. So, the men were men then.
For sure.
You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I carry 9mm and
Well, yeah, me too.
and I have a 45 as well, but I ended up going with the smaller frame. I've got a Mossberg MC1 SC, their first one. And then a few months later they come out with the MC2 SC, which is like, really? So
Which I have.
Yeah, which you have. and because I was looking at the Glock 43,
Yeah.
you know, but I went with Mossberg because that's what I could get at the time.
Yeah.
And it's really nice, but I don't shoot it as well as the full frame. So I've been looking at upgrading to, you know, something just a little bit bigger, you know, more like that 3.7 you know, inch would
Yeah,
be
a little
better, 'cause
longer,
I
bro.
think this one's a 3.1, I believe. So, but, and then otherwise, yeah, sometimes I do carry an extra mag depending on where I'm at. I've always got it in my truck.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on where I go, I have 1 or 2 extra mags. So,
Yeah,
but
yep.
yeah, I typically, carry the same thing. Pants on, gun goes on.
Yep.
I've left it, you know, a few times and I just feel naked all day long without it.
Yeah, you feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy the society we live in to feel that way.
Yep.
Like, people didn't feel that way 20, 30 years ago.
No.
You know, and it's, it can be a scary world that we live in. And that's why our founding fathers did it too, right? To protect yourself and your family and the loved ones and your country. And yeah.
Well, I think we can all agree on that.
Yes.
Although I don't carry as much as I'd like to. I'm too much of a comfort freak. I can't find anything I like. I just want to open carry, honestly.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, but
I've gotten to where I typically carry, you know, at about 4 o'clock, but then there's times that I'm getting more used to appendix. Just, you know, summertime is more appendix because I don't have a sweatshirt on. You know, I'm rocking a polo or a t-shirt, so it's a lot easier. But let me tell you, it takes getting used to getting in and out of the truck or bending over, sitting in a chair. It's like,
That's
man.
a true decocker. You're right, though. I haven't found a holster. I started carrying We the People holsters.
Those are nice.
They're nice holsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't started carrying appendix because I typically carry a little bigger frame gun.
Yep.
So it's usually at like that 3-4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been rocking a Vetter holster out of Florida for a couple years.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
got
I've
a couple
heard
different ones.
good things about those.
Yeah, they're, you know, a little bit more, I would say. But yeah, I've got 2 of them and I really enjoy it. You know, they're really nice. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Great band also. Pearl Jam.
There you
Oh,
go.
little PJ.
Eddie Vedder.
You want to
yeah,
know?
that's what I was thinking.
You want to know something cool? I was out in Seattle, and me and my brother are on the different side of the political. I was out there for my sister's funeral, and he's like, "Let's go to Seattle." I'm like, "Okay." It gets a little stabby down there. And he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, here." I'm like, "Okay." Well, we're walking. I'm like, "Brendan, do you smell that?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "Someone just took a crap over." He's like, "Oh."
And it was Eddie Vedder.
Yeah, I know. I was like, no,
That's what made him think.
but here's my story with Eddie Vedder is I was on a shoot in Michigan for the state patrol, and we went and did like a shoot bowling pin shoot with the guys from 3 Doors Down. So I ended up becoming really good friends with all the guys from 3 Doors Down because they're all shooters and all Second Amendment lovers. And I was chatting with them, and I'm like, I'm gonna call Chris up. I was talking to my brother. I'm like, I know Chris from 3 Doors Down. He's the lead guitarist. And he's like, "Oh, you do?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm gonna call him up. I'm like, "Hey, Chris, didn't you record your first record in Seattle?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like, "You still know anyone over here?" He's like, "Yeah, the Yellow Jacket Studio. I believe that's what it was called." My friend just bought it. Well, that's where Nirvana recorded their first record, Pearl Jam, 3 Doors Down, a lot of these like grunge rock bands back in the day. And my brother's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, and if we would have stayed one more day, we could have went to it.
Oh, that
But
would be
we
cool.
never got to go to it.
man.
I got to make it back out there. But I'm like, it's so cool. And I'm like, see who we get to meet in the gun community, Brendan?
Right.
He's like,
That kind of leads me into, so who is, you've met a lot of people, I'm sure, but who's probably like your top or maybe even the craziest one or most abnormal one that you met?
Oh man,
I know, kind of put you on the spot.
The fact that you're not just saying a Saudi prince is blowing that
yeah.
Right. That's pretty wild.
I met Trump Jr. Talked to him for a bit. Down to earth, good guy.
Yeah.
Someone that has a lot of money and a lot of stature, right? Treated you like he was just one of the dudes.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. Conversations with Zach Brown.
That's cool.
Very down to earth guy. Like, just he's passionate about what he does, and he loves the firearms community. A couple others I probably can't say because they're in a certain position, but I guess I'll say Luke Bryan. I've got one of his guitars that he sent.
Cool.
The bullpen coach for the Texas Rangers was in the shop the other day, bought a rifle.
Nice.
And I'm like, so you're a baseball coach? I'm like, I thought college. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, for who? He's like, Texas Rangers. I'm like, and one of the guys is like, well, you won the World Series last year. He's like, yeah, our guys did a really good job. I'm like, can I get a jersey? He's like, yeah, I'll send you one. So he sent me one. Like, just it touches so many different communities and so many different people in so many different ways that it's a great community to be a part of. And MDHA too. You guys probably meet some of the coolest people ever. Regional or out of state or people that are just passionate about what they do and where they hunt and
It's all a balancing act, though. You get to meet those cool people, and then you also have to hang out with Jimmy and Dino.
Yeah, I thought we were the cool people.
I thought so too. I mean, it's funny. He always comes around.
Yeah. He's always here.
So obviously we're cool enough to hang out with.
Nowhere else to go.
So we're the pity group. I see how it is.
We're the last choice.
My worst experience was probably someone that was in the UFC. I'm not going to say any names. But it's just like, my father never talked down on me. Why are you talking down on me? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, okay, you are who you are. That's awesome. But it's like, we're all created equally, right? Right. It's just like, but then I met some really cool guys like Matt Hughes and Brock Lesnar and all these other guys that are really down to earth, cool guys.
That's crazy.
And
you meet them all at the SHOT Show or
just everywhere? Wow. SHOT Show, or they'll contact you. And there's actually a lineman for the Vikings came up and bought a gun. He's like 6'9", 350 pounds, like just a big dude. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I love my job, but he's like, something gives me the peace and serenity in shooting. Yeah. Like, there's just something about it. Like, and he doesn't hunt. You don't have to hunt to shoot. Oh, that's such a misconception. It's like, I don't hunt, I can't shoot. It's like, you don't have to.
I mean, you're cooler if you do. But.
Yeah. Like, you can feed yourself, whatever. Or you can eat veggie burgers.
Right. I'm sure 6'5" Creedmoor. Gotta throw
it. You got me.
I'll take it. Well, speaking of hunting, I mean, I know you mentioned, deer, pheasants, hog hunting. What's your favorite? What's your...
Oh, man.
You could choose right now to go on a hunt. What would it be?
Pheasant.
Yeah.
I've got a black lab. He's 10 now. But just watching him work, and he's a pointing lab, just watching him work and how excited that animal is to do that job for you. Like, you wish your kids were that excited sometimes when you get home. Yeah. But they're just watching an animal work and being out in the elements and moving around. Like, I don't have much patience to sit in a deer stand. I do, because I make myself. Right. But there's something about getting out or, and walking out in western South Dakota, and one flush could be a grouse, and the next flush could be a pheasant, and the next flush could be a partridge. It's just the mass variety of animals you get to pursue on that is really fun. And then you have a rifle in the truck for shooting coyotes. There you go. Shot a lot that way.
Yeah. Pheasant hunting it's amazing. I love, like you were saying, that relationship you build with the dog. Yeah. It's such a great experience to have that communication. And I just love it.
Yeah, it's just, and you brought this little animal from a baby. Sometimes they're hell. Like puppies are hell.
Yeah.
But you bring them in from that to potentially what you've molded this animal to, and it's like your best friend.
Yeah.
And but you think about that, like fathers, right? It's your child. You're molding this kid your whole life,
And sometimes it's hell.
and sometimes it's hell. But that's a you know.
Yeah.
And I think dads out there that want to get into hunting or shooting, take your kids. It's not a dad thing or a mom thing.
No.
It's a family thing.
Yep.
And you can build that unity around shooting that a lot of families don't have the opportunity to do. And I think that's, I've always, back in the day, I was like, oh, it's a guy thing. I'm going to go out with the boys. And like seeing my daughter shoot and she's 7, I'm like, I'm a proud dad. It's pretty cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, our kids love to shoot, and shooting and not hunting. When I was at the range a few weeks ago, I had the rifle range on myself, and let me tell you, that was glorious. I could just sit there, and it was a beautiful day, and it's like
time.
It was amazing. Yeah. I mean, it was great, and like I said, our kids love to shoot. My daughter shoots, and she's damn near better shot than I am, which is great.
Yeah.
So, and we just got to get the kids out more and more and more. So,
Well, that's, with the society that we live in, it's keep yourself busy. Like you're running with kids all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
But take time to shoot.
Yeah.
Like that is time you'll never get back. And,
Exactly.
Or fish, sit in a boat,
Right.
take some time and you'll find some peace that way for sure.
yep.
Definitely got to find more time for that.
But working's fun too.
Well, I was planning
not
on
get
going back to
crazy.
the office after this, but I'm going to go find a boat.
Sorry, guys.
I wish I had brought my gun and I'd go to the range.
Well, you guys
So-
come up to Alec. We'll do some machine gun shooting on back.
man.
And
Heck yeah.
we've got some pretty cool guns that we've taken in.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Yeah,
For sure.
I will take you up on that
Yeah,
for
we'll
sure.
have to definitely take you up on that. Well, with that, I think that pretty well wraps her up.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Well, we
thanks
appreciate
for
you coming
coming.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, this summer, later this summer, early fall, we'll schedule the time and we'll come down and
I'd love to.
and we'll do a on the road podcast and
Yeah,
be down
for
there,
sure.
so that'd be really cool
We'll connect at the high school shoot.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for listening.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and wolf.report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.